Alright, welcome back to another game with this unique little team. Yeah, so we're definitely a very, very interesting looking team over there. They have the Calyrex Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, Incineroar Rillaboom combination that is very effective. It's most likely, Water Urshifu, and then Among Us, of course. So overall, it's a very, very effective offensive team. Very good team. So this will be a very interesting game just to see kind of how it goes in general. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about it other than that. So yeah, without too much ado, we're just going to get the party started, I think. While I would love to, yeah, I'd love to bring the either of the bears, but neither one of them are great into this particular matchup, largely because Intimidate cuts Urshifu's offensive capabilities besides Wicked Blow just too much, and unfortunately Ursaluna is just not ideal into this particular one as well. The Zamazenta can really mess him up without like a Ghost Terra. So yeah. Could be worth trying at some point, though, now that I think about it. The Electric Seed, I don't know, the Electric Seed definitely has a certain degree of merit. Okay, Zamazenta Rillaboom, yep, that was what I was expecting. That is well, I shouldn't say that that's what I was expecting, but that is a really good way of countering a, it's a really, really good way of countering a Grimmsnarl lead. Because they can fake out the Grimmsnarl and Heavy Slam the Grimmsnarl in that first turn before, yeah, they can just do that in that first turn. So what we're actually going to do here is we are going to swap into Araquanid, and we're going to make the call to do that in order to, one, preserve the Terra, which I'd rather not spend on the Grimmsnarl at the moment, because then it leaves me with two Pokemon that are weak to Astral Barrage, which is almost certainly in the back, and two, nope, they just went for the fake out into Calyrex. Interesting choice. Heavy Slam. Kadeta will just shrug that off. No problem. She's just fine. Okay. So in this circumstance, actually, that puts us in a very interesting position here. So Kadeta's going to get quite a bit of recovery, which is lovely, for a wide variety of reasons. Rillaboom is almost certainly going to U-turn out. This is actually, I think, a good opportunity to go for an Infestation. Where do I want to go for that to? I think we're going to do that into the Rillaboom slot and hope that they go into something that isn't Incineroar, who could then just Parting Shot out. Perfect. Well, at least it's not going to be a wasted hit, whatever else it is. Yep, Rillaboom is U-turning out, as expected. I'm really hoping that we get to see either Calyrex or Among Us here. That would be delightful, because either one of them can be trapped in with Infestation. It's Incineroar, okay, so he's probably just going to pivot out again next turn. That's okay. That's okay. It means that we get a free hit into whatever comes afterwards. Or he's just going to sit there and take the Infestation damage. Doesn't have a Rocky Helmet, so he might be an Assault Vest Incineroar. Could potentially also be a Will-O-Wisp Incineroar, which would be interesting and not great. Regardless, we can do some damage to Mr. Incineroar before he has a chance to go anywhere, and he's going to feel, you know, the Infestation. It does damage over time. It's good stuff. I guess he could just go for a knockoff. I don't necessarily think he's going to, but he could. And yeah, well, let's beat up on the cat. Because Zamazenta does not particularly threaten the... really either of them. I mean, yeah, he can do decent damage into the Calyrex, which wouldn't be great, but Calyrex is here to take damage. Fake out, okay, so that means that we could just get a free Glacial Lance, which is just going to be chip. Like, it's not going to be a ton of damage, but it adds up, it all adds up, given enough time. Okay, and there's a Body Press, yep, that was, yeah, not great, but, you know, not a whole lot else to do with that. And cool. Okay, so I think the real question becomes whether or not... the real question is whether or not Incineroar is going to leave the field or stick around to get smacked by a water bubble. So the interesting thing here is that Calyrex is not... Or not Calyrex. Incineroar is not able to manually switch out. They do have to use a pivoting move, because Infestation does trap you on the field while it is going on. And funnily enough, Infestation actually gives Araquanid, I can think of the name, it gives Araquanid the opportunity to actually beat a number of other Pokemon that have significantly higher attack stats or higher defense stats, because it just sits there chipping away at them, doing a chunk of their health every single turn, trapping them on the field. Here's Liquidation, bop, great damage, love to see that. Incineroar is now Parting Shot. Yep, he's using Parting Shot to get out of there. Next to no health, which is awesome, because that means that we can just pick him up with whoever has the opportunity to come in next. Okay, and let's see what they decide to go into. Most likely Rillaboom. Yep. And there is the Rillaboom. Okay. Goes for the body press. Yep. That was anticipated. Alright, so we should be actually getting fairly close to the end of our... Trick Room here. Right. Yeah, we got 2 turns left of Trick Room. I think... I want to send in... Yeah, I think we're going to send in Grimmsnarl here in place of Calyrex, because they're most likely just going to do a Fake Out into that slot. And we're going to get Infestation going on Zamazenta. So I anticipate a Fake Out into the Calyrex slot, and I'd rather that he didn't take another Fake Out Body Press combination there, so we're going to send in Grimmsnarl. Look to actually get those screens up, because the screens will go a long way, particularly at this point in the game. And we'll let the Infestation start chipping away at our good friend Zamazenta's health. Here's a Wood Hammer, bop. Well, that did a lot of damage. Body Press, oh, no problem. We can tank that. And cool. Alright, so the neat thing about that is that we are still under Trick Room conditions, which means that Grimmsnarl can get a Reflect Up, which will be great. And I would love to get a Light Screen too, but it's... I don't know if Grimmsnarl is going to make it another turn. Oh, hey, would you look at that. Nope, so we're going to get that. Going to get that up. And what do I want to do? You know what? I think we're just going to protect the Araquanid. So I think at this point, the Araquanid is probably slowly driving the opposition crazy. It just has a way of doing that. Not only because it possesses the noisiest move in the game, being being Infestation, but also it just refuses to die and sits there doing damage over and over again, and it's just, it's a good time. Said like no one ever. Reflect. Hey, Grimmsnarl lives it. All right, that's what we like to see. Look at that. And let's see who comes out next. Is it going to be Calyrex? It might be Calyrex. It's Calyrex. All right, there we go. Well, that's fun. Okay, so this actually puts us in a very, very interesting situation. They have no priority damage on their side of the field. We have Infestation going on Zamazenta, who is now trapped. Twisted Dimensions return to normal, yes, but we can set up a light screen and get an Infestation into Calyrex. And assuming that Araquanid survives it, which I'm really, really hopeful that she will, between the dual screens and everything else, yep, Astral Barrage will pick up the KO, but, oh, easy live, easy survive. What that gives is that gives us an opportunity to bring in Miraidon against those two. Boink, look at that, no problem. No problem at all. Alright, so now they are both trapped onto the field, with damage just ticking up. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Alright, so we'll see if this plays out the way that I think it does. It's always a bit of an interesting interesting time running against those two, just because they do have a ton of damage that hits really, really hard. But here we go. It's Miraidon time. So this is actually, though, kind of the situation that this Miraidon was built for, which is getting out here and clicking. Do I want to do that? Yes, I think I do. Clicking everyone's favorite move. Parabolic Charge. Do I want to do that, though? Do I want to go for a Protect or a Wide Guard? We're going to go for a Wide Guard. We haven't shown them Wide Guard yet. So, alright, they're going for a Terra. Let's see what they've got. It might be the Terra Grass on the Zamazenta. Nope, they are going for a Ghost Terra. Oh, right, the Wide Guard was the way to go. Alright, it's getting spicy. So basically, the idea behind this Miraidon is, yeah, he's meant to hit really, really hard, but he's also meant to just kind of survive everything. He's got a lot invested into his defense. He has an Assault Vest on for a reason. Yeah. There's the Wide Guard. We don't see one from Zamazenta, so guess what that means? He's not using it. There's the Astral Barrage. Oh boy. Astral Barrage not doing anything this turn. The Wide Guard play coming through, Body Press, not exactly what you'd call meaningful, and here comes the kicker. Parabolic Charge, probably my favorite move on Miraidon, actually, particularly with the Terra Electric and Electric Terrain. Ooh, the crit on the Zamazenta definitely helped. Look at that HP recovery. Delightful. +1 Calyrex, not concerned. Or at least not concerned that turn, and probably not concerned in the following turn. Yep, they could switch to a single target attack, but Miraidon with the Assault Vest and the Light Screen is going to be able to successfully tank it. Calyrex has one more turn on the field. Admittedly, though, it might actually get more than that with Rillaboom coming in here. But the thing is, they lost Wide Guard. Now that's not good. So what we can do here is we can drop another Parabolic Charge, and I really, really want to. Yeah, no, we're gonna go for the safe play. We're just going to click Parabolic Charge. They're gonna fake out the Miraidon. We're gonna Wide Guard. This does allow them to do something other than, it allows them to go for a single target attack into the Araquanid. Yep. Araquanid, because of her fantastic special defense, actually survives that. And now we're basically back in the same situation that we had in the prior turn, where I can still use another Wide Guard, which is, again, the thing to do. Oh, except that Infestation has claimed the KO on the Calyrex. Poof. There we go. Araquanid, ladies and gentlemen, along with Miraidon. So ultimately, this particular game actually is demonstrating why these four Pokemon kind of ended up forming the core that I used for the most part in Milwaukee. Let's see, we don't particularly need to do that, so we're just going to look to get rid of that one and see about getting Infestation up. Unfortunately, you only have a 30% chance of being successful with a Protect the turn after you use a... whatever it is, Wide Guard. So that's why we're not going for a Wide Guard on the... Or that's why we're not going for a Protect on the Araquanid this turn. Alright, we're doing good. Yep, they get a little bit of Grassy Terrain recovery, but ultimately it is not going to be enough because... Yep, so... Kadeta is just slowly, inevitably healing her way back up. So in this particular turn, it's going to be time for a Protect plus another Parabolic Charge. It's not going to do all that much to the Rillaboom. It's not meant to do a whole lot to the Rillaboom. It's mostly just meant to stop the Incineroar. Get rid of the Incineroar and then leave it in a 1v3 situation, because at this point, if Calyrex hits the field, basically at any point, he drops a Glacial Lance and we call it a day. Okay, so there's the Protect. Miraidon goes with the Parabolic Charge. It'll finish off Incineroar. It'll do a little chip to the monkey, and then we can switch to Dragon Pulse from there. There we go. Okay, so that is that. I do rather like this version of Miraidon. It's probably my favorite version of the Miraidon. Like, I have a lot of respect for the Choice Specs variant, but I do also admit that, like, at the end of the day, it does a lot of damage, but it does not have staying power, so if your opponent's able to somehow get around the amount of damage that you're throwing at it, it can be very, very difficult for the Choice Specs Miraidon. Or sometimes it'll end up like locking into Dazzling Gleam, and you preserved a Wide Guard Pokemon to the end, and then you can just wall them out with Wide Guard for the rest of the game. It's extremely strong, but it definitely does have a lot of counterplay. This also similarly has plenty of counterplay in its own way, but it can sometimes successfully tank anything short of instant death. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this particular video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a fantastic day.